What's up, gamer? Yeah, you. You. Do you like Dragon Draft? Do you get your ass kicked every time you play Dragon Draft? We've all been there. I've been there. I'm gonna get you out. Basically, climbing in this game is straightforward. Getting the 2,000 points and the 2K reward chest, it's simple. You can do it. You just need to know a few things that the game doesn't cover at all. This video is going to teach you absolutely everything you need to get to that 2,000 reward chest. I'm not going to break it up into multiple videos and clickbait you on it. I'm just going to give it to you all at once. That being said, everything's going to be timestamped in the description. So if you already know a part, or if there's one thing you specifically need information or clarification on, just skip past it. But I do recommend watching the whole thing. It takes about as much time as one game of Dragon Draft, but it's gonna set you up to where you can start winning. Let's do it. Alright, so before we jump into the games, let's take a look at the interface. There's a few useful things to note here. The first is your points. This is the objective, to get as many points as you can. Points give you rewards, which you can see right here. So these rewards, some of them you get as soon as you hit a point milestone, such as this chest, and some of them you get at the end of the season, like these chests. There's a lot of useful stuff here, and a lot of stuff you don't have to have many points at all to get, so it's definitely worth playing this game mode. Next, we have these things at the bottom. The bonuses button is what you need to know. These are the trophies that you get at the end of every NPC round. So this game consists of a series of rounds. Each one you fight a different opponent. Some of them you fight NPCs, some of them you fight other players. When you fight another player, win or lose, you're going to get to rank up one of your characters at the end of that round. Except for round 4. But every other round, you're going to get to rank up a character. The rank system works exactly the same as with the daily boss. You're going to get to choose from your 3 lowest ranked characters and give the level up to one of them. Your goal here is to do one at a time, take one character to legendary, then introduce another character into the mix, and take another one to legendary, and so forth. You can have as many as you want of one type of character, and it'll still count as just one character when it's time to level up. When you're doing an NPC round, these are rounds 1, 2, 3, and then starting with round 5, every multiple of 5. So 5, 10, 15, and so forth. At the end, win or lose, you're going to get one of these trophies. This is a lot of information to take in, so I'm going to tell you about these trophies throughout the course of this video, just a few at a time. But it's definitely worth checking out yourself. The other thing to note is alliances. These common alliances, these are available in every single game mode, and they function the same in in Dragon Draft. So you've got bards, for instance. There's 2 little rectangles, meaning that you need 2 bards in order for this to activate and give everyone a 15% bonus. Now, in a round, when you're playing against an opponent, it's going to go through a series of turns where characters go based on their agility levels. Then once everyone has gone once, you're going to start the next turn, and everyone's going to go again, based on agility. At the beginning of a turn, if you have the characters necessary to activate an alliance, you're going to get that boost for the entirety of that turn. It doesn't matter if a character dies. Next turn, if you still have them, you're going to continue to have the boost. If not, it's going to fall off. Now with this one, everyone gets plus 15 to all stats. That includes HP. Meaning that if someone has boosted HP, if they get hit, if they drop down to 13%, then that boosted HP at the end of the turn, if this alliance isn't up, it's going to fall off and that character is going to die. People call that getting popped. These underneath are Dragon Draft specific alliances. You unlock them with these tier 2 trophies. These give unique bonuses. They're not just stat bonuses, they have really cool effects and they do different stuff, and you base your strategies off of them. It's really worth it to take a moment to look through all these and get familiar with them. I will cover them just, sprinkle them in a little bit at a time throughout the course of the video. But right now it's just so much information that if I load it all on you all at once, expecting you to retain it would be ridiculous. The other thing here is your board of characters that you can take in with you. Now, in every game there's a shared champion pool or hero pool where all of these heroes with the little house next to them, they come standard. So every single game you're going to get all of these champions in every game. Additionally, you can take your own heroes in. So ones that don't have a little home button next to them, you can bring them in as well, right over here. If you do this, every single player has access to them. You have the advantage of knowing that they're in the game, but everyone can use them, can buy them from the shop and play them. The best thing to do here when you're starting out is to just do this setup. You have your Bianca. She's necessary to play the Dwarves Union. And then you have your Bear, who's necessary for Elves and Beasts. This is just the basic setup. You can also just take nothing. You can have an empty board and do completely fine with that. But this is what I recommend. If you want to take the next step, you can have these two 4-mil siege heroes. Trusk is really good if you go Dwarves, and if you also get the humanoid silencing trophy. He can silence a lot of people, he has infinite scaling, and if you have multiples of him, you can get the Ranger Alliance bonus, which gives you 10% to dodge for all characters if you have 2 of him, and if you have 4, that gives everyone 40% to dodge. Really useful. This guy, the Elf dude, also a siege hero, he's really good for the Elves and Beasts Union. Basically, if you don't have him, then your Elves damage is going to fall off really, really hard once you enter the mid-game. But having him lets you have those agility damaging heroes and have them be relevant. The third setup is if you don't like Dragon Draft, but you want to get rewards. This is, you're just going to ignore alliances, you're going to play mages and dragons every single game, you're going to stack Einsteins, and if you need defense, you're going to use a Fenil as a tank. This strategy is really brain dead. It's not much fun to play again and again and again and again. But if you don't really like this game, and if you just want to get the rewards and watch some Netflix or whatever, then this is completely fine. Alright, now that's out of the way, let's get started. Alright, last quick thing before we jump into the game. The character on your bottom left is a bard. He gets run in every team composition except for full Undead. If you're playing Undead, you don't use him, you use Dwarf Miner. Everything else uses bards, everything else uses 4 bards. You never want to have a 3-star bard, you never want to try to do more than 4 bards, you always want to try to get 4 bards. Next character, Griswold. Never ever level him up or rank him up in any way. He's something to get you through the first couple rounds and then to be sold back to the store. Do not ever use him in Elves in place of a Bear. Third character is the Angel. She's generally useful in most builds, but keep in mind that if you're winning 100% of the time without her, you don't need to rush into building her. If you're in that kind of advantageous position, focus on keeping your lead, keeping your damage. She's a really good defensive tool, but she does nothing for you aggressively. Next character is the Blue Arbiter. If you see her in a game, you have to play her, basically. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. So she's not something you're going to encounter right away, but when you do encounter her, you have to play her. Next character is I forgot if he's Katala or Kalata, but anyway, the dude without the bead in his locks, he silences. So he is exactly half of a Blue Arbiter. He's not that great, he's not meta, but he's a really good counter for certain builds. Namely, if someone's got an Fenil or an Infinite Scaler and they're giving you trouble, then he can help you out. Also, if someone tries to do that idiot shit where they go with a mythic rarity, then he shuts them down. Last one is Sun Tzu. This dude is useful in every game mode except for Dragon Draft. He only gets played in Orcs here. He doesn't get played in anything else. A lot of the time, lower level players will think that he's good. He's not. Don't fucking build him. Alright, let's jump into the game. This is the first round. It's an NPC round. It's always the same every single game. Any 3 characters in the game will win this round. Yep, any 3. At the end of it, you're going to get your first trophy. So with these trophies, the ones I've highlighted red are trash, don't get them. The ones I've highlighted green are the best for now, and the other two, they're really solid picks. The bottom left one in green, it gives you an extra choice of trophies at the end of NPC rounds. The next one is basically an extra bard buff. The one after that, it does 1 extra damage. So if someone plays against you and they lose, all of your characters are going to do 1 extra damage. It has no effect on the actual fighting. Then the last one just gives you 7 gold. Useful, but at lower levels when everyone just pisses away their money, it doesn't matter a whole lot. So those first two are really good. So here I'm going to pick up more items and I'm getting ready for round 2. In this one, you can get knocked out. Basically, multi-hitters are the best here. There's a lot of enemies, they have low health, and they have the potential to do damage. If you lose, it's no big deal. Alright, so right here, the only reason I'm picking Power Seal is because I'm making this video and want to be playing mages. You would pick Human Union 10 out of 10 times in that situation. The next fight is against one guy, the Colossus. Basically, if you don't one-hit him, he has the chance of turning into a giant dude that's gonna just kill your whole team. The best way, the easiest way to one-hit him is to get an agility-based character like that Goblin Assassin and to boost him up with either the Thieves Alliance or with Biancas or Bards or Power Circle. You need to be able to hit 16 damage on him in 1 hit. So next, I'm about to get my next set of trophies. I'm going to pick Goblin Union here. I don't really need it, but the other ones suck. This is my first human round and the only round that doesn't give anything as a reward. And right here I see Siri in the shop. She's a great mage. I'm gonna get her. Always do this if you can. Even if you want to play a union, just in case you don't get your union on round 5, you have that to level up. Now we're at the Brath fight. Very straightforward. If you kill him with a regular attack, he revives everyone. If you kill him with an activated ability, he doesn't. This is the most important round in the game though, because you have to decide what you're playing. Alright, so after round 5, you decide what you're playing for the rest of the game. The rule of thumb is if you get a tier 2 union, then play that. If you do not, then play mages and dragons, like what I'm going to play this game. The green highlighted ones, the first one you see is humans. That goes into a gnome is a mountain in the middle row, which is your dwarf union. That's how you play dwarves. The one next to humans is elves. That goes into the bottom one, Fury of Beasts, and that's how you play elves and beasts. So if you get either dwarves or beasts at the end of round 5, play them. If you do not, then play mages. Ones that are in red are trolls, which is severely underpowered right now. Don't play it ever. Then insects, evil spirits, and mechanisms. The insect is pretty bad, but evil spirits and mechanisms can be played well, just don't worry about them for now. The ones that aren't highlighted are goblins and orcs. Goblins, don't worry about that at all. Orcs is one of the strongest unions. It's just, in order to run it, you need a character who was a reward from last season's Dragon Draft. So someone needs to bring that in. If someone got that reward last season, chances are they're not going to be in bronze games, so don't worry about it in the early game. But I'm going to provide an Orcs guide in this video as well, so you know how to play it. As for Undead, that union is fairly underpowered if you don't have blue arbiters, so just don't worry about it for now. If you get it, you can sprinkle in a Ligneath that's going to revive your guys, revive your bards, but don't worry about it as a main game mechanic. Basically, get dwarves, get beasts, or go mages, and that's how you're going to climb early on. The last ability that isn't highlighted is the humanoids one. So for that one, you can run it alongside dwarves, and it gives humanoids the ability to silence other characters. It's useful, it's really good, but it's not like a main mechanic, game-changing one, like dwarves and beasts are. So I end up getting none of these unions. I'm playing mages. And as for these trophies that you're seeing, I'm going to go over them in just a bit. I just don't want to overload you with information right now. The strategy I'm going with is mages and dragons, since I did not get a union. Basically, either play dwarves, play elves, or play this. The characters you're seeing, top left, bards. This does run 4 bards. Then right next to him, that's just a general buffer. She's good as a 3rd character, but should never be leveled up or invested in any way. The next 3 are the 6 costs you need to get one of them and level them up to legendary rarity. After that, you get another one. The best one is Ciri, a close second is Dacket, and if you can't get either of them, then Kelata is good too, but he's significantly weaker than the other two. Ciri is the best because she has 120% wisdom scaling on her AoE ability, and Dacket only has 100, because dragons are like hybrid characters. After them is the Green Arbiter. He's good, he gives you a plus 20% chance to use your activated ability. Definitely not necessary, but a really strong tertiary character when you can get him. Row is Einstein on the left. He is a plus 50% wisdom buffer. So this guy is going to be really good. At level 10, you can start buying him. So after you have your 2 unlocked, this is something to push for. After that are the 2 dragons that you unlock at level 11. They're going to be really strong units for AoE nukes. After that is Zeus and Midclon. Zeus is an AoE nuker like the dragons, except he's a mage, so you get that union bonus. Then you have Midclon. He is basically 3 Einsteins in one character. He buffs plus 150%. So Zeus and Midclon, they're both like pay to win characters, but they're both extremely strong in this build. Lastly, we have Opheniel. He's not a mage, he is optional here. If you are taking physical damage and need a tank, then he's a solid option. Alright, so I've got my Ciri. I only have 1 bard, which is a problem, I need more, but I don't want to dump coins on bards just yet. I want to save up my money a little bit, and there's no real rush. I can take losses early on. I have the Shackles ability, which reduces enemy damage by 1 anyway, so I'm not really taking damage or too much of a loss. I bought this Dalrur because I do have the Goblin Union, and there is a chance that I'm going to get at round 10 the Inspiring the Orcs ability. Typically you don't do this with alliances, but with Orcs you can make an exception because the Inspiring the Orcs 2 ability starts dropping at level 15, so there's a delay in it anyway, and you're not going to get held up by waiting for 10, but with other alliances, don't wait for 10. So right now, I'm just leveling up my Ciri, and I'm waiting to see what ability I get from Dacket, the Falling Star, who's going to give me my next trophy. Alright, so the fight is over. I don't get the Inspiring the Orcs, so I sell Dalrur, and now I'm looking for my next dragon. Perfect, I found Dacket, so I'm just going to limit myself to 3 characters so I can have them on the field. I'm going to max my Ciri, and then start working on Dacket on collecting more bards, and on possibly collecting a 3rd character as well. Now I'm going to tell you about the next level of trophies. All of the Union heroes, that's the top row, they're all really good, but you don't want to get them past level 10. So level 10 should be the latest. They're great early game heroes. They're good, but they're not necessarily something you want to invest in late game. The middle ones, Shackles, they reduce damage per each character by 1 if you lose. Really good for surviving the early game, really good in general survival tool. Then on the bottom row, Refreshing Shop, really useful. And Digger for Knowledge makes buying experience 1 coin cheaper. Really great ability. What you don't want is the discounts in the tavern, because that decreases the value of all the characters you have that you might want to sell back by 1. Bad ability. Then the light weapon, really useful, especially if you're running a lot of little guys and shit. Basically it gives everyone weakening. And improved trophies, I don't think it's great, but it's not bad either. 15 healing, get it if you need it. Most of the time you don't need it. Right, so I just beat Dacket the next NPC round. I'm getting a trophy and not a rank up. Getting Tavern Update makes my refreshing in the shop cheaper. Really good utility tool. Selling the Orc because I did not get the Alliance for him. And I'm getting Dacket as my next character. So right now, finish off my Ciri, take her to Legendary, start working on my Dacket, the dragon dude, and I'm looking for bards. I can introduce Billy, who's also a bard, in because I have space for another character right now, since I'm only picking from the 3 weakest, and Ciri is as strong as I'm going to make her this game. So I can keep leveling up the dragon even though I introduced a new character. My goal right now is just to keep leveling up Dacket, to keep stacking my bards, and to be smart with my gold, so when Dacket is legendary, I can push to either level 10 or level 11 to find my next character. So right now, I'm not blowing mad money on refreshes, doing anything like that. I'm just being conservative with my gold, leveling my one dude, and searching for bards. I got Digger for knowledge, that's really useful. Here's the next tier of abilities. Alright, the top row, it weakens a certain union. So all of this union gets minus 50% stats. This is only situationally useful. In the next row, the ones in green are extra space and 30 gold. These are amazing. The row under it, the green one, is for the dwarf union. It's called dwarf armor. It gives everybody fortitude. Really, really good ability. Then underneath that is Beast from the Thicket. It's the elf ability. It lets all of your elves summon beasts that can scale infinitely. So these are the top tier abilities. The ones that aren't in red are also all good. That's more healing, more damage if you win, and the second tier orc ability. Don't worry about orcs yet, but you will have to play them later on. And I will explain in this video how to do so. Alright, so continuing the same thing, getting more bards. My goal is to get 4 bards, never go for the 3-star bards, and I'm also not leveling up my Siri or my Dak at their star level. I'm keeping it the same. The only characters whose stars you level up are 1-cost characters and buffers. So dwarves, buffers, and also, I mean, if you're playing orcs, that's an exception, but I'll get into that later. Right now, I'm getting Einsteins. They're a really, really good buffer. Now, you can do this in one of 2 ways. You can either get up to level 11 and get a dragon and an Einstein, level up the dragon, have your Einsteins solely as buffers, or you can do what I'm doing, climb up to level 10 and do your Einsteins there, and then level up an Einstein before hopping up to level 11 to get your next character. Either way is fine. If you have a huge gold lead, whatever, if you can afford to, the climb up to level 11 strategy to get your dragon, that one's better. If you're kind of struggling on gold, not rolling in it, then Einstein's is perfectly fine. I'm doing that, and I'm getting 2 angels just to give me a little bit of defense. Trophies, I'm not going goblins, I don't need Lear. Protection from magic is solid. Elves, they're not a problem in this game, I don't need it. Power fists, I don't feel like bullying anybody, so I'm going with protection from magic. Here are the last tier of abilities. The goblins and elves one, they're decent, but you shouldn't be playing goblins right now, and the elves one, it's underwhelming. It's not a bad ability, it's just not very good. Right now, healing of humans, that's the green one. If you went dwarves and have dwarf armor, then this ability stacks with it to make a really just overpowered combo. You guys can't get knocked below 1 health and then they heal afterwards, so it's just really hard to get past that. The greater necromancy, that's the one on the top right, that's good for undead. Don't worry about undead just yet. Then below that, healing by 45, great ability. Protection from magic, 20% reduced. Then after that, 20% reduced physical damage, and then the combination, I guess, 10% to dodge. The 10% to dodge, always good. Then situationally, the 2 before it, pick one depending on what you need protection from. Alright, now here I'm just going to show you the power of 2 Einsteins. Wisdom is an offensive and a defensive ability. It protects you from magic if you have higher wisdom. See what just happened? Siri ulted, and none of my guys who have wisdom, they didn't take damage, basically, because Einstein's gave me such a wisdom advantage that I have protection from it. Same thing, I can eat these all day, basically. I'm only taking physical damage because I have that wisdom boost. That's why when people go mages, it's all about having this kind of like nuclear arms race with buffers. Who can buff the hardest is going to have immunity from the other guy's shit and is going to be able to just nuke them every time. Here I see a Lord of Midclan. This guy is 3 Einsteins in 1. He is absolutely amazing. I did not expect him to be in this game. If I knew he was in this game, I would have 100% played this differently. I would never have leveled up my Einstein. So basically now I'm leveling him up as well, because there is physical damage that I'm taking. I do need the angels in here, so I can't really switch to dragons just yet. I need to have the midclans, I need to stack them up a little bit, and I can survive this way. I don't need to do any extra shit. If I did know that they were in the game, then I would have gone straight to rank 11 started looking for dragons, mid-clons, and then once I got a dragon up, I would have gone with Einstein's. But since this was a little surprise, I'm just improvising, working with what I have. Alright, so now I'm continuing my fights, just surviving, about to have my next NPC round. This guy, if you can melt him down, good. If not, he's gonna replicate into a bunch of goblins and do like 60 damage to you. So be careful with him. Here I'm picking Bag of Gold. It's a great ability, especially because I need to have more mid-clons right now. Other people are going mages, so it's all about who can get more buffers on the field, who can get more Einsteins, who can get more mid-clons. Now right now I'm fighting a guy who is just about to fuck me up, and I have the mage advantage on him, but look, his dwarves, they do physical damage, and they just completely wipe out my AoE characters. So see, the magic damage, it's not really fucking with me at all, but his physical damage here is just completely wrecking my characters. So he's got two things going on. He's got physical damage, he's got magic damage. Now what I could do is try to compensate for the physical damage I'm taking. I could put in an Nathaniel, start leveling him up, I could worry about that. Or I could focus on my strength. I could keep doing what I'm doing, building my nukes up, and just pray that I'm gonna one-shot him every time. And that's the better strategy for me. Even though I'm losing right now, even though I'm taking hits, if I focus on playing defensively against him, then I'm going to lose my win condition eventually. He's going to catch up to me in terms of mages and whiz buffers, and he's going to fuck me up. Whereas now I can take a couple L's, I can lose a little bit, but I still have my win condition, so I'm just going to focus on my strength. And see, now I have a Zeus, now I have a Macarion, so my chance of one-shotting him is really good, because I just have more people that can do it. I have 4 Einsteins, I have 2, about to be 3 mid-clons, so I'm getting to a point where he's not going to be able to catch up to me in terms of whiz buffing. So his physical damage, he's not even going to get a chance to do it. Or if he does slap me a couple times, then who cares? Now look at this. He's got Fortitude, meaning I can't take him below 1 health in 1 attack. Doesn't matter. I think he's got Healing of Humans as well. Doesn't matter. My guys fuck him up. Right, first place, and now on to the next game. Dwarves. Alright, Dwarves is the cheapest and easiest union to play. Always prioritize humans and dwarves over everything else, basically. So if you can get it by level 5, get it, play it. The characters, it runs 4 bards, just like anything else except for Undead. Then the 2 dwarves. You need 2. If you don't have at least 2 dwarves and humans on the field, then your dwarves lose their bonus and they pop. So you always want to keep 2. The male dwarf, he's in every single game, he comes standard. Bianca, the female one, someone needs to take her in. Normally someone does, but just to be safe, you should do it. Alternatively, you can run 1 dwarf plus the human hero that you get from trophies. That can work too. Not as good, but it still works. If you can't get 2 dwarves, don't run this. The next character is Trusk. If you get the humanoid silencing trophy as well, then he is a really solid pick once you get to level 10, because he can silence, and stacking him gives you a dodge bonus. The next character is Elga. She boosts everyone's defense, she doubles it. This is the buffer for dwarves, not Sun Tzu. They get a special attack where they can attack 3 times. This is your bread and butter. This attack is defense based. So Elga, she gives them a defense boost, makes them more tanky, and also boosts the fuck out of their damage. Lastly, we have Augustinius. He's basically a bard that's also a tank. He's decent. If you don't have shit else to build, always a solid pick. Just a 15% buffer. Solid, not particularly great, but you can build them. Angels also work for this, and also just building up your 2 dwarves to legendary level, and then building some other shit like mages, that's completely fine too. They can just be a vehicle to take you into the mid to late game. Alright, so first round, same as last time, any 3 characters win this, you get a trophy at the end. So I'm just stacking whatever, some multi-hitters, getting more items here. This is good, especially if you're going for unions, because there are specific abilities that you need, so that's a good one. Here I'm just picking multi-hitters, getting Power Seal over the Undead Alliance, simply because I don't really fuck with Undead unless Blue Arbiters are in the game. Human Union, this is the first one you need to get. Human Union into a gnome is a mountain. That's what you get for dwarves. Here, what I'm doing with these bards, I'm not buying 2 because that'll collapse them into 1 2-star bard. So I'm waiting for the round to start. As soon as it starts, I'm buying my bard. That way it combines, but I still have my 2 bards in this fight. So basically I get a free refresh to try and find another bard, and it happens. So I've got my 2 Biancas. In this round, if I get my gnome as a mountain, that means I'm playing dwarves. If I don't, that means I'm not. So I have my Biancas just in case. They're a solid little buffer if I don't get it. Here, I get it. A gnome is a mountain. So what I want to do is just have my dwarves and my bards. That's all I need. Until I find my other dwarf, then I'm just using whatever as a third character. Here I have another 15% buffer. Decent, but I need my next dwarf. Also, never refresh for your second dwarf at this stage in the game. This strategy is all about conserving your gold and just getting through the early game for as cheap as humanly possible. So it defeats the whole point if you're refreshing to get your second dwarf. Also, he's just going to be a 1-star, base rarity for now, so he's not going to be terribly useful. I just need him by the time I get my first dwarf up to legendary. So here, even with 1 dwarf, I'm still putting in work. I'm still doing well against other people's abilities. So here I'm choosing between Tavern Update and Shackles and Silence. All 3 of these are really useful for me. I end up going Silence. Do I? Yeah, I end up going Silence. Oh, okay, I can't make up my mind here. Yeah, I go Silence in case there is like a Trusk in the game or another humanoid, so they can silence people. The rule of thumb here with humanoids is there's 3 main ones: Shah, there's Midas, and there's Trusk. Trusk gets levels, the other 2 do not. Never invest in them. So those 2 are just utility characters. You do not want to level them up in any capacity. So here I hit a couple refreshes just so I could get my next dwarf to level up. And I didn't even put him in because he's the same rarity as my other Bianca, but my Bianca gives a little defense bonus, whereas he does nothing. So I level him up first and then throw him in the game, put a couple points on experience. Now with gold, this is an important thing. This game is all about gold management and getting a gold lead so you can get a lead in every other department. You get gold for just completing a round, you get another little bit of gold for winning, another little bit for having a winning streak, and then you get a cumulative gold bonus. So for every 10 gold you have, you get +1 gold at the end of each round. This goes up to 50. So you can get up to 5 extra gold at the end of every round. What you want to do is rush 50 gold as quickly as you can. Everything past 50, that's your gold. Spend that on experience, or spend it on refreshes, do whatever you want with it. Everything below 50 gold, think of it as a loan. That, the interest you're paying on it is the amount of money you miss out on, the opportunity cost from not having that bonus. So get up to 50, and then use that on experience, use that on refreshes if you need to. Your goal is, by the time you get your second character to legendary, to be able to make that jump up to either level 10 or level 11 to fish for your next character. You don't want to be doing another 6 cost for your third character. In most situations, there are some where you do, but most of the time you want to get 2 characters up to legendary, then use the gold you've saved up to jump up to level 10 or level 11 and start fishing for your next character. That's how I got my Trusk. He's a level 10, and basically I was just really frugal with my gold, saved my shit up, and then jumped up to level 10. And here I'm getting healing of allies, or healing of humans. It lets all of my humans heal me. They get an extra active ability, which lets them heal all of my characters. It's really useful, and it's especially useful if you couple it with the dwarf armor ability, which gives everyone the fortitude skill. And you might be a little confused as to why I swapped out my Billies for Einsteins. Billies are more useful to me than Einsteins, but I see that Einsteins are in the game, and this might become like the last game, where it's like a space race to see who gets the strongest mages and the strongest buffers. So I'm preparing myself for that, picking up this dwarf armor. That's a huge pickup, but I'm preparing for myself for that. Basically, I have my dwarves, I have my physical damage. Now, instead of doubling down, I'm seeing that this is probably going to become a game where we stack Einsteins and mages, or dragons. So I'm working on my next dragon, and I'm stacking Einsteins as well, just so everybody doesn't just kill me if that's what the game turns into. I also have my 2 Trusks. They're giving me the ranger bonus, so everybody gets plus 10 to dodge. If you get 4 of them by leveling them up, it's a huge gold sink, but you get plus 40%. So the game does end here, I get first, but if it were to continue, then I'd have my end game plan, which is to stack Einsteins to have mages. I wouldn't get wiped out. Next is Elves and Beasts. Quick rundown of characters. You need 4 bards for this. Griswold does not play here. Do not use him in place of the bear. Do not level up Griswold, don't rank him up, fuck Griswold. Sell him after the first couple rounds. The bear, he gets infinite scaling if you have beasts, meaning every time that somebody hits him, all of the beasts on your battlefield, they get plus 35 to all stats except for HP. So this is the core mechanic of beasts, where you get hit, and then you grow from that, and you outscale them, and you just fuck them up. Next one is Ina. She's good. If you don't have to build her, don't build her. But if you have to build her, then she's fine. If you get the 2nd tier or the 3rd tier trophy, then having a gold star 3 rank Ina, she gets to summon really powerful beasts. Next up is Billy. Billy is a bard. And with Billy, she's also an elf. So you get the elf alliance boost from having her in. Really useful for this. Not necessary, but helpful. Next is Kuzja, whatever. This character is also a reward from Dragon Draft last season. If you see this character and you're running Beast, run her. It's Archer that infinitely scales because she's also a Beast. The last one is the 4 mil Siege reward hero. He's an amazing buffer, also an elf. So if you want your elves to do damage, you have to have him basically, just because elves are agility based and agility buffers are rare. Alright, so same thing. Early game, you already know it, but I'm just showing you again so you have it committed to memory. First round, anything beats first round. Second round, multi-hitters are what you should go for. Third round, you need to buff the fuck out of an agility hero. Then after that, before round 6, you should buy experience points at some point, just so you're eligible for 6 cost heroes in the shop. So that's what I'm doing right now. Colossus, I have all the buffs. I have Fury of Beasts, so I can play this union. So right now, optimally, I would get the bear in the shop. That's what I'm looking for. If I don't get the bear, then I'm just gonna level up an elf and hopefully get the bear by the time my elves are, or my elf is legendary. So I get a dragon just in case, sell him. Okay, so I have my bear, I have my 2 elves for the union. See that? He's getting hit, he's getting plus 35%, and just champing it. So that's what the strategy is all about. This, you just run the bear, you have your elves, so he has the bonus. He's a defender, so he's gonna pull aggro. How aggro works in this game is that people usually target the front row, then the row behind it, and so forth. So put stuff in your front row that can take hits or stuff that you don't care about. With defenders, if someone has the defender ability, they're gonna take regular hits regardless of where they are on the map. It's only if you have multiple characters with defender that the ones in front tend to get prioritized more than the ones in the back. But defender, you can put him in the back row and he'll still take the hits. So right now I sold off my other elves just so I could get the trophy hero. He's going to be a really good second character to level up. He's got good stats and he's going to actually do damage Ina, if you don't buff her properly, she just does not shit in the late game and in the mid game and falls off really quickly. So he's going to be a really good alternative. I also have a Billy, so I have the 2 elf boost. Now I have 2 of the bear as well. Having multiple bears is really important for 2 reasons. One, you get the Defender Alliance boost, which is a 20% reduction to all damage. Very helpful. The second reason is if they're running something that can do a lot of just burst damage straight off the bat, something like Dwarves, then having a second bear that you don't give a fuck about in the front, that can save your main bear. So the number I prefer to go for is 3 bears total. That's the number that works best for me. That's what I like to do. I don't like to go for the full 4 character defender bonus. I don't think it's normally like worth it in terms of the randomness of the shop, the money investment, all this. But having 3 is really good. Having 2 is decent too. Having 1 you can get fucked up, but also I mean it can work. Alright, now here there's a lot of useful characters in the shop, so I locked it in. I'm leveling up the 4 siege hero right now. My goal is to get 3 of him, and with these heroes in the shop, I want to buy 1 of them after he gets maxed. So Angel, that's always a solid pick for these infinite scaling characters like the bear or like a Feniel or Trusk, because if you boost the fuck out of their health, then chances are they can take enough hits to start ramping. You just want them to take a few hits, then their defense and their wisdom values get high enough to where everyone hits 1s on them, and they can just single-handedly run the map. So that's a useful thing. That's why I'm getting Angels basically as soon as I can. Alright, so now I have a couple options. I can level up an Angel all the way and introduce my next character, or I can get rid of Billy the Elf. I could also get rid of my regular bards, but I just don't trust my RNG. I don't think I'll get 4 Billies. So that's exactly what I do. I get rid of my Billies and I get a dragon. The dragon, same reason as last time. If things get wisdom scaly, then it's really, really hard to keep up with that, and it's really hard to counter it unless you're using wisdom. So I see that Einsteins are in the game. I see that that's a possibility and that people might outscale me. If that outscaling starts to happen, then it's just good to have 2 dragons on the field just so I can start putting my money in Einsteins. I have my guys who can do the magic nukes ready, and I'm not going to get just outscaled and buried by someone running wisdom. At the same time, I combined my elf dude, so I do intend to run 3 of him, so I get the 40% dodge bonus to all my characters, and also my main elf is, oh, there we go, I have all 4. Now he's gonna get buffed to shit every time. His agility damage is actually gonna do something, and as you can see, this guy is building a frozen Elga. So aside from the dragons, all of my damage is physical. Both attack based and agility based damage are physical. So if he was to build, let's say, 4 Elgas, then my elf dude would stop doing shit, basically. Yeah, my elf guy would stop doing shit. His Trusk would infinitely scale. So it's useful to have these dragons for this reason. I'm getting the Beast from the Thicket ability. Now all of my elves can summon these beasts that you see coming out right now. These beasts, when one of my other beasts gets hit, they get the 35% scaling as well. So this is just a really useful tool for protecting your characters, for scaling well, and for, you know, fucking up your enemy. If you have a bunch of characters that can just like slap their shit, and that's a win. Alright, next up we have Orcs. This is a really straightforward, easy to play union, but one of the characters required, Dalror, the second from the left. He is a reward from last season's Dragon Draft. If somebody performed well enough to get him, it's unlikely they're going to be in bronze games, so you're not going to see him early on, but you will see this strategy later, so it's good to be prepared for it. It does run bards, 4 of them, never have a 3-star bard. Then Dalror, he's a 6 cost. It runs him, and it runs the 2 cost orc right next to him. The basic premise is it's the same as Dwarf is a Mountain. Everyone, all of your orcs, they get the same bonus as Dwarf is a Mountain. But if you get the tier 3 union ability as well, they get that bonus twice. And instead of being on 1 cost characters, it's on a 6 cost and a 2 cost. So these orcs, they get giant, and they just roll over everything in the game and fuck it up. The characters you build after these two are Angel, you definitely need this. Then Sun Z, because they're attack based, so he does help here. And then Nushkilan. The reason Nushkilan is good here is because to get Inspiring the Orcs 1 bonus, you need to have 2 Orcs and Goblins on the field. In order to get Inspiring the Orcs 2 bonus, you need to have 3 Orcs and Goblins on the field. Now you're going to level up 2 Orcs to max, to Legendary, and with those bonuses, they're going to be invincible. No one's killing them. But the third one is going to be your Achilles heel. So Nushkilan can basically buff it up to Legendary and make that one unkillable as well. But how you beat orcs is by making them pop. So taking away their union bonus and killing the weak ones, the goblins, and the unleveled orcs. So the strong ones basically pop kill themselves, or you can kill them easily. So Nushkilan prevents that from happening. Last thing, never run 2 goblins with this. If you run 1, he can be part of the union bonus, that's fine. If you run 2, then your goblin union activates, and your orcs can start summoning goblins as well. That's an active ability. How active abilities work is if 1 procs, that means your basic attack gets cancelled for that turn. It doesn't affect other actives. You can have multiple actives, but you will cancel your attack. You need to attack with these guys. Don't have 2 goblins. Alright, so this game is pretty low average points. I'm just showing you the intro as always. I'm not expecting there to be orcs in here. I just picked one because he's a multi-hitter. And see, right now I'm picking Elven Union or Goblin Union. If I knew that orcs were in this, if I knew that Dalror was in this, it would be a no-brainer. 100% of the time I would pick Goblin Union in that situation. Here I picked it because I was like, hey, you know, maybe. Inspiring the Orcs, fuck it. So now I'm playing around with this. I'm like 99% sure there's not going to be a Dalror in this game. But I'm just fucking around, basically. There's the option for trolls. Never pick trolls. With trolls, some people defend it. They say, oh, it can be really good. They can hit a lot. But no one's ever seen someone win with trolls, dude. It's unbalanced to the point where it's really underpowered right now. Don't pick trolls. Yeah, basically right now I'm just leveling this guy up to max. My first orc. I'm trying to stack bards, and I have 1 goblin, not 2 goblins, and that's what I'm doing. You can run this strategy with just 1 orc. It's not a particularly good strategy. If you run it with 1 orc, it sucks. But I was just having fun this game, and lo and behold, there's a Dalror in the shop. I was really amazed to see that. But yeah, this other guy's got a max one too. I might have seen that on the scoreboard earlier too. But yeah, no. So there's a Dalror. So now I have 2 orcs, and yeah, just maxing my second one, going up to legendary. And yeah, stacking up gold. The basic strategy here is to have 3 orcs ready. I only have the first bonus right now. I don't have the second one yet. So I'm just building up my team and praying to get Inspiring the Orcs 2. Once I get Inspiring the Orcs 2, man, it's over. So I am ranking up my guys just to have the extra orcs. This is the one exception. Normally you never level up 6 costs unless they're like buffers, but in this case you can definitely level up a Dalror 2 stars or whatever. I'm doing it with the other orc. So here I get the second orc ability. So now my guys are going to be strong as shit. And in terms of buffers, this game is really... It's a weird game for playing orcs, because the person who brought them in didn't bring in all the characters needed to run the union well. So there's no angels, and everybody else is building mages. Meaning that my only strategy for survival is to have the dragon bonus, and then to have the arbiter bonus, and to build a couple Einsteins, just so I don't get one shot essentially. I am gonna go first in these games, so I have that. So the two things that need to happen for me to have a successful game right now are I need to have a really strong first turn, so I need to be able to wipe them out. I need to have enough attack so my multi-hitting orcs, even the little ones, can take some people out. And then I need to have enough defense against magic, so if someone ults, it's not just game, so they don't wipe my whole board in one hit. So that's what I'm working on right now. It's really not the optimal thing to be building with orcs, fucking Einsteins and dragons. It's not what you want to do. I'd much rather have angels on the field, but this is kind of what I have to do right now. And then I threw in Augustinius because my I only have 2 bards. So I got really lucky with other stuff, but I just got shit luck with bards this game. So I'm putting in an Augustinius and a Sun Z at the same time. And my leveling here, my ranking up, it's going to be a complete mess, but really it doesn't matter. I have my damage, I have my characters all leveled up. Right now is just buffers. They can get levels, I don't care. I don't particularly need them to be stronger, I just need them to be there for the buff. So right now I got 2 Augustiniuses, so I've basically got 4 bards out of this. And I'm looking for a second Sun Z, just so my weaker my weaker orcs, they can one-hit shit and clear the map a little bit. I'm also leveling up a Nushkilan. He's in my inventory right now. This part is really messy. It's not optimal, but you gotta improvise, you gotta play with what you have, you know what I mean? So yeah, there is a Nushkilan. If I start losing these, I'm gonna throw him in as well. But yeah, the basic strategy is orcs, then buff the fuck out of these orcs. So orcs, get Inspiring the Orcs 2 trophy, and then do your angels, do your Sun Zs, do your Nushkilan. Here I had to take a really scuffed route about it, but it still got the job done. And yeah, I think this is the last round actually. Yep, first place. Alright, Undead. Undead is a weird one because it's at the same time the strongest union and the weakest union. What I mean is in the late game there's only one meta, which is judges and mid-clans. It's the best strategy, it stomps everything. I'm going to go over it later. Undead, in my opinion, with blue arbiters is the best tool for getting yourself, just ramping yourself up to judges and mid-clans. So that makes it the best union. What makes it the worst union is if you don't have blue arbiters, then it's really unreliable and you're gonna just get stomped basically. You're gonna have a win chance against everybody, but you're gonna have a lose chance against everybody. So because you have 7 opponents, you're really, really likely to get out of the game pretty early on playing Undead without a reliable silence. The reason for that is that if something is auto-attacking, it has 0% win rate against Undead. You're going to win every single time. But if something is nuking you, then using activated abilities, then it has a chance of fucking you up before you can silence or weaken it. The main mechanic, this does not run bards, is your dwarf miners. When dwarf miners die, they weaken a few random enemy heroes. Also, the union makes it so whenever an undead character dies, it has a 50% chance of summoning another one. These guys also weaken or they can silence enemies. Your Brath, the Merciless, if he dies from a regular attack, he revives all undead on your side of the field. Your Lugneath, the mustache dude, he can revive 2 undead at a time. Also, the union makes it so they have a 50% chance of ignoring magic damage. So the basic strategy is just to keep your dwarf miners dying, keep weakening and silencing your enemies to shit till they can't do anything, and your Brath as a safety net, and your Lugneath to keep reviving your guys, so then when they die again, they summon more, so you just keep getting more undead. And yeah, usually by the end of a round, if you win, you end up slapping them for a very good bit of damage. Now, the Blue Arbiter makes it so you stop that early win condition, that they can stop all of this from happening by just wiping you out first turn. I don't play Undead without Blue Arbiter, typically. Alright, so I'm going to skip the early game in this one. You've seen it enough. First round, anything wins. Second round, get some multi-hitters. Third round, buff up an agility hero. Fourth round, you don't get any rewards, but buy experience. Fifth round, at the end of this round, you have to decide what you're playing for the game. If you have Dwarf as a mountain, or if you have Beasts, play Dwarves or Elves respectively. If not, play Mages. So this game is, I ended up getting Undead Union with no other Union choices. So I went for it. I figured I might get a couple of the Reviver dudes and then just play those on the side. And then I saw that somebody bought a Blue Arbiter. So I sold all of my bards and committed to Undead. I got the Undead hero, Silence. He's, in my opinion, the best of the trophy heroes. He has an ability that lets him attack multiple people and silence all of them. Really, really useful. So right now in the shop, I'm seeing a Blue Arbiter. I'm currently leveling up a Dwarf Miner. But in this, like, normally you want to level up one character at a time. But in this situation, I am leveling up Blue Arbiter and Dwarf Miner, because I'm not relying on them for their damage. I need them for their abilities. So their abilities, same ability regardless of what level they are. I'm fine having them be a little bit weaker as long as I can have both of them and have both of these abilities. So the general strategy here is the Blue Arbiter, its silencing is not random. It tends to target the strongest characters. So in this situation, it targeted the strongest character plus a bard. So maybe one of them is random, but it's really a reliable silence for the high DPS heroes on your enemy side of the field. So the strategy I'm running is I want my Blue Arbiter to silence their damage so they can't just wipe me out turn one. And then I want them to kill off my shit. I want them to kill my Dwarf Miners. I want them to kill my Blue Arbiters so I can keep reviving them, keep silencing and weakening, and then just wear them down to the point where I have a full battlefield of stuff. And, I win, or if they're playing me, they lose, and they take a really good bit of damage. And everybody else's, or a lot of people are playing Blue Arbiters as well. So that just, taking a couple silences while playing Undead, that's fine. Taking a couple silences while playing Mages, let's say, that's not good at all. So I'm getting affected by the Blue Arbiters on my enemies' teams a lot less than if I went with a different composition. And like I said earlier in the video, if Blue Arbiters are in the game, you basically have to play them. And most people know this golden rule, so if Blue Arbiters are in the game, then you're going to be playing against a lot of Blue Arbiters. Now, I got 2 characters up to Legendary. I'm about to get my 3rd up to Legendary, so I need to start looking for the next one. I went ahead and bumped myself up to level 11 and started fishing for characters, and I saw that there's mid-clons in this game. Now my spidey senses started tingling. If you see Blue Arbiters and mid-clons in the game, and it's a higher level game, there's a good chance there's judges. Like, it is possible that 2 people brought in characters. One guy brought in Blue Arbs, the other guy brought in mid-clons and mages. Or it's possible that one guy brought in mid-clons and mages and also didn't think about how Blue Arbiters counter that build, so brought them in as well, not knowing. But Blue Arbiter, mid-clon, judge, this is the best strategy in the game. I'll explain it in just a second. So once I saw those first 2, instead of fishing around for a mage, I decided to save up my money, level up my mid-clons, and then jump up to 141 experience, level 13, and fish around for judges, just in case they're in the game. If they're not, then I'll get Zeus's like this guy, and I'll have that mage. So, as you can see, I'm playing against one guy now, and he's fucking me up every round. So I'm gonna lose. That's why I'm ramping up now instead of waiting for my mid-clon. And there we go. There's judges. Now you're about to see me do something that might hurt to watch. I'm taking this Arbiter and I'm selling it. Look, I'm about to hesitate a little bit, I think. Yep. Don't want to do it, but I have to. Judges are that good. And I'm not going to explain them. I'm going to show you first, and then I'm going to explain what the fuck you saw. Keep in mind, this guy's been beating me every round. I have a 0% chance of beating him, or I did last turn. Look at what happens. A silence happens, my mid-clon's buff. Now look at this. Yep. He was running Dwarves as a mountain. He's not anymore. Before the game even started, my judges got rid of him. So what you're looking at here is the best strategy in the game. The game isn't very well balanced. This is just objectively the most powerful thing in the game. So judges, mid-clons, and the optional blue arbiter. What a judge does is he has an opening ability. Before the round even starts, his opening ability is he reduces the stats of 3 random characters according to his own wisdom level. Mid-clon's opening ability is he boosts everybody's wisdom by 150%, like plus 150%, so multiplied by 250%. And mid-clon has a higher agility level than judges. So if they're the same rank, mid-clon is always going to go first, meaning he boosts the fuck out of a judge's wisdom, and then a judge just melts away all of their shit. So if you have multiple mid-clons and multiple judges, you take off a very sizable portion of their board. Then blue arbiters just silence whatever's left on there, and you're left with just a few odd characters that can't do shit, and you win. So that's what happens here. I'm watching on his screen, and yeah, he actually wins this round because he gets hella lucky and his Trusk scales. So he survived that round on his screen. But here, he bought judges as well, which is exactly what you're supposed to do. If you see judges, then fuck whatever you're doing, ramp up to 141 experience and buy judges. So that's what he did. He stopped leveling whatever he was leveling. He bought judges, but I got mine a turn early, meaning mine is always going to be 1 rank higher and have higher agility. Also, my mid-clons are, my mid-clon, I have a blue rarity one, he does not. So I'm going to have the mid-clon bonus and the judge bonus before he gets to do it. So my judges, see, they took out his mid-clons, now silenced, he basically doesn't have judges. So that 1 level bonus on my judge is enough to spin this so he can't beat me. And look, he's got fortitude now. Normally that cleans house. Doesn't fucking matter anymore. He went from beating me every single time to me taking him out in 2 rounds, all because my judge had 1 level on him. Alright, you got everything you need to start winning. Go fuck him up, gamer. Get that 2K. Make him cry. I don't know. Twist someone's nipple. Yeah, thank you for being here for this hour-long video. I hope it's of use to you. I hope you start winning. I hope you enjoy the game more. And yeah, I'm not planning on making more Dungeon Crusher stuff. There's really not that much to be said about the rest of the game. And Dragon Draft, the part I find interesting, unless it really changes in the coming seasons, I don't think there's too much to be said about it. But I don't know, if you guys want to know something specific, then let me know in the comments. I might make a follow-up or something like that. What I do is I make art and illustration videos. So if that's up your alley, if that's something you enjoy, if you want to see basically me draw, teach you how to draw certain stuff, just talk about my process, then I'd really appreciate you subscribing. And if that's not up your alley, if you're not really interested in that, then hey, no worries. Not everything's for everybody, you know what I mean? Anyway, I appreciate you being here. Thank you, and good luck out there. All right, be good, everyone.